morning, everyone. Welcome to the Cannabis Regulatory Commission's meeting of the Board of Commissioners. The time is 11:04, and I call this meeting to order. Mr. Saeed, can you please read the notice of the public meeting?
Chairwoman, this is a regularly scheduled meeting of the New Jersey Cannabis Regulatory Commission's 2023 annual meeting schedule. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided in accordance with the Senator Byron M. Baer Open Public Meetings Act. Notice of the meeting was provided to the Asbury Park Press, Atlantic City Express, Bergen Record, Courier Post, Star Ledger, and the Trenton Times on January 11th, 2023. The agenda and information regarding the virtual nature of the meeting was also posted on the CRC website. The meeting time and location has also been posted on the website of the New Jersey Cannabis Regulatory Commission and with the Office of the Secretary of the State.
Thank you. Mr. Saeed, can you take roll call, please?
Commissioner Barker?
Present.
Commissioner Del Cid Coso is absent. Commissioner Nash?
Present.
Vice Chair Delgado?
Present.
Chairwoman Wainu?
Present.
We now have a quorum. The first order of business is for the Commission to go into executive session to discuss legal matters and litigation updates. These are discussions that are not shared with the public. We believe the executive session should take about 60 minutes.
Thank you. I will ask for a motion to go into executive session.
Madam Chairwoman, I move that we go into executive session.
Is there a second?
Second that, Madam Chair.
Seconded by Commissioner Barker. Is there any discussion on the motion to go into executive session? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Any abstentions? Hearing none, the motion passes. We will now go into executive session. Again, the executive session is anticipated to last approximately 1 hour, so we will resume the public portion of this meeting around 12:07 p.m. Thank you for your patience, everyone. All right, the time is 12:55, and we will resume the public portion of this meeting. Apologies for the extra delay for the executive session. We know that we try our best to stay on our estimated timeline for executive session, but sometimes there are just a lot of really important things that we have to unpack and make sure that we thoroughly discuss as necessary. So I thank you all for your patience with the extra executive session time. But with that said, we will dive right in to our next item. And I believe that Mr. Saeed has an update to the notice of the public meeting to share before we start with the meat of our program.
Yes, Chairwoman Wainu. This is an amendment to the opening statement. The commission meeting has been renoticed in two newspapers on July 13th in accordance with the Senator Byron M. Baer Open Public Meetings Act.
Thank you, Mr. Saeed. All right. And can you please announce the next item?
Yes. Next up on the agenda is approving the minutes of both the Commission's open sessions and executive sessions held on June 1st and June 21st. The minutes have been shared with the members of the Commission prior to this meeting.
Thank you. If there are no requested changes or amendments to the meeting minutes, I will ask for a motion to adopt the public meeting minutes for the June 1st and June 21st public meeting.
Madam Chairwoman, I move that we accept the public meetings minutes for June 1st. And what was the other date?
June 21st.
June 21st. Thank you. Meetings.
Thank you.
Second that, Madam Chair.
Moved by Vice Chair Delgado, seconded by Commissioner Barker. Is there any discussion on this motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Any abstentions? Hearing none, the motion passes.
Next on the agenda is the Chair's report.
Thank you. For today's Chair's report, I really don't have much of substance. I just want to thank the New Jersey Casino Control Commission for letting us use their space for today's board meeting. And I'm glad to see so many people were able to attend and fill in here down in Atlantic City. So thank you to the commission for their generosity and lending of their staff to help us conduct this meeting. But the next public board meeting is at present anticipated to be back in our regular meeting place on Clinton Avenue in Trenton, right next to the train station. So be on the lookout on our website for details and the agenda for that meeting. And that's all I have for today's Chair's report.
Next on the agenda is the Executive Director's report.
Director Brown, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chairwoman Waynu. So just a couple things to touch on today. Number one, since we've concluded fiscal year 23, I'm going to present fiscal year 2023, present on some delegated authorities. Going to cover ATC ID cards, cannabis business ID cards, patients and caregivers. And then at our next meeting, once all of our finances have been reconciled for the fiscal year, we'll present on any, final purchases related to the last fiscal year. And then provide a licensing update, and then I'm going to turn it over to Director McWhite to talk about some things that his office is doing, both related to recreational and medicinal cannabis. So looking at last fiscal year, which concluded on June 30th. Throughout the year, we issued close to 6,000 alternative treatment center identification cards. These are cards that allow people to work at alternative treatment centers. 2,737 went to new employees, and 2,938 went to employee renewals. The industry is growing, so we're issuing more cards. We additionally launched the issuance, we launched our cannabis business ID platform, I believe in April, and thus far I've issued 141 cannabis business ID cards to employees of exclusively recreational businesses. Looking at the medicinal cannabis program, the number of patients enrolled in FY23, we issued over 40,000 cards to patients in the year. That includes both new patients and renewals, and our total enrollment still remains over 100,000 at 102,908. For caregivers, we issued 2,736 caregiver cards during fiscal year 2023 and have over 5,000 caregivers, 5,342 caregivers enrolled at the end of the fiscal year. I'm going to just pause there and see if there's any questions from the board before I proceed to the licensing update.
No questions from the board?
Great. So looking at our licensing update, we've now received 2,118 applications for cannabis business licenses. Most of those remain applications for conditional licenses. We've approved 1,309 applications. Only 66 applications have yet to advance to completeness review. And an important statistic, there are 80 applications under review in the Office of Licensing. There's also 350 applications in the Office of Licensing that have been issued a cure, and we're just waiting on a resubmission from those applicants. So the majority of applications that are under the Office of Licensing are pending a cure. One thing I wanted to highlight in those statistics is the numbers for annual applications, and particularly for social equity businesses. And this is where I'm later going to turn it over to Director McWhite to talk a little bit about the outreach he's doing. But we only received 24 annual social equity business licenses. We've received far more social equity business license applications for conditional conversions. And of those 24, 22 are in cure status. And so Wes's office, he's going to talk about it, has been conducting some outreach there to get them back in, resubmitted, and moving forward in the process. We are seeing more conditionals submitting, which is good. We are seeing more social equity business applications within that conditional cohort. And as of today, 330 conditional conversions have been submitted. We still have, 287 applications under review in the Office of Compliance and Investigations, and that includes applications that are being QC'd and ready to move forward to the board at the next meeting. So the team continues to work. We want to get through all of these applications. Everyone that's ready to move forward, try to do so before we open up for new license application types. For consideration today, there's 40 conditionals. 35 conditional to annual conversions, 17 annuals, 4 expanded ATC certifications, and then 1 annual license renewal. And with that, if there are no questions, I'm going to pass it over to Wesley McWhite to talk about some medicinal cannabis initiatives and then outreach to applicants.
Sure. So, Madam Chair, through the Office of Diversity and Inclusion, we want to continue to be a resource to individuals that need a cure or that have already received a cure and need to cure their application. As always, my contact information is at the bottom of social equity cures. For anyone else that does not have my direct information at the bottom of your letter, you can always reach us at odi@crc.nj.gov or 609-376-7300. I say that because me and my team of 2 are constantly calling our cure applicants, those individuals that are in the cure process, to help them and give them resources to, in fact, cure their deficiencies. But folks still probably aren't calling us back because they think we might be bill collectors because of the 609 number, or not responding to our emails. So we implore folks to always reach out to us if you have not heard from us yet. And we're going to continue to make those calls and continue to make those direct one-on-one sorts of outreach for folks that need it most. But what we are still seeing is still a high number of cures. Individuals that are applying under the wrong priority. So you want to make sure that you're filling out the portal correctly and that you understand that you are applying as the right priority with the right types of proof. Individuals may not live in an EDA, are still trying to apply as social equity. And I want to say this to be very clear, right? When we talk about social equity in the cannabis space here in the state of New Jersey, the definition for social equity is either those that have specific types of past cannabis convictions or live in an economically disadvantaged area. Social equity does not mean I am a minority. You have certain designations for folks that are of minority status, but may not be social equity. So when you hear social equity, please double check and make sure that you either live in an economically disadvantaged area for 5 of the last 10 years, or yes, for 5 of the last 10 years, or have past cannabis criminal convictions. Does that make sense to everybody in the room? All right. So folks are still not providing those proofs of residency on the social equity attestation form that has to be signed and notarized. On the 3rd and 4th page after your signature are resources, a list of resources to help you pick out which proofs of residency you need for each year. Individuals are still applying as wholesale, distributor, or delivery licenses, and as we know, The portal has not been open for that, and that will be opening in September. Essentially, people are submitting incomplete applications. Submitting an incomplete application does not get you reviewed get you in front of the board quicker. And in fact, it slows your time down to get you through the approval process. So try to think of the CRC as the DMV. You wouldn't go to the DMV with with the least amount of points. You want to go with as many points as you can. I go with more than enough points just in case they say something doesn't work. So please take your time when you are filling out the application. Use our website. We have an application checklist. We have 10 ways to prepare to complete an application. We have a pre-application webinar that was hosted by our executive director, and we have a social equity attestation tutorial that walks you through this process. With that being said, we are excited to be reaching out to our medical patient community. We'll be doing on-site reviews for individuals who are of active status. We'll be assisting folks that want to create a patient or a caregiver portal and registration. We'll be helping patient and caregivers with renewals in person, resubmitting documentations, adding or changing a caregiver, address changes, and payments. When are we doing this? We are doing this in the month of August, and we're doing this at 3 on-site locations, and we'll have all this information confirmed and sent out to you all. A part of our email list, and we'll be blasting on social media. We'll be doing one in Trenton, Newark, and Bridgeton. But remember your eligibility. You must be in active status. You must have access to an email, a personal email, and you must have your proper documentation that you would need to renew or to do some of these in-person things that we are offering to the public. So we are really excited to stay connected. The Office of Diversity and Inclusion is to make sure that we are promoting the CRC and the cannabis industry, not just on the adult use side, but also on the medical side as well. And so we're excited to be amongst the people. I think we called it We Outside. The Office of Diversity and Inclusion, Diana, Chairwoman Waynu, we are outside, and so we're going to stay outside to help as many people as we can. And I'll turn it back over to Jeff.
Thank you, Director McWhite. That concludes the ED's report, and thank you, Director McWhite, for the efforts of you and your staff members. Those in-person patient signups are going to be really great. And I do want to note, in addition to what Wesley gave out, we also now have, for any applicant that wants to reach a live person on our website, there's a live phone number to get a status update on your application. If you can either use the email address or you can call the number to get a live person. So that is now live on our website and able to be used. So with that, back to you, Chairwoman Waynu.
Thank you, Director Brown and Director McWhite. Yes, we are not bill collectors. Please pick up the phone when the Office of Diversity and Inclusion is reaching out to you so that your application can be completed and then get to the board for approval. Any questions from the board for Director Brown or Director McWhite?
No question, but just a brief comment. Just want to, if I may, Madam Chair?
Commissioner Parker.
Just want to thank you, Director McWhite, you and your team, ODI. Thank the staff. I did hear, which I think is critical, in-person patient signups. We know that our medicinal numbers are decreasing, and that is a priority. And I do think it's critical that we get into communities and remove the stigma and meet them where they are. And so thank you for going to the community, educating, and potentially adding and increasing our medicinal population and those efforts. Just wanted to share that.
All right, with that, we will move on to the next agenda item.
Committee's report.
Next item on the agenda is the Permitting and Licensing Committee report.
All right, so Commissioner Del Cid Coso typically gives the committee report for this committee. Since she is a new mommy and is on leave, I will be delivering this month's, I will be delivering this committee report today. So in the month of June, the Permitting and Licensing Committee granted 96 extensions to conditional license holders. These are folks who have reached out to the Permitting and Licensing Committee to request an extension due to a myriad of reasons. However, the top 3 reasons that we continue to see showing up in the extension requests are lack of or delays with site control, delays with municipal approval, especially if the municipality has imposed a really strict local licensing or local approval process that requires businesses to get approvals in a particular order. Those municipalities, we're seeing a lot of requests for extensions coming out of those municipalities, and lack of sufficient funding. Again, all three of these outside of the commission's control, but these continue to be the top reasons that our conditional license holders are requesting extensions. As we move on, a total, since the Permitting and Licensing Committee started granting extensions, a total of 561 extensions have been granted, and that is as of June 30th. Nearly 75% of our conditional licensees and 62% of the 2019 RFA award winners, right, those medical operators, have requested extensions. And I think this is important for the committee to highlight because it demonstrates that while the conditional license structure that was created by the CREAM Act, the legislation that established the framework for legal cannabis here in New Jersey, anticipated that conditional licenses would be a temporary measure that would allow our cannabis business entrepreneurs to then take the steps that were needed to then convert to an annual license. But we are seeing that because of the reasons that that I previously stated, that a number of them still continue to struggle with getting municipal approval, property, and funding that will allow them to then convert to an annual license, right? That coveted annual license that we want to see. And even for our medicinal operators, we see that this is a struggle too for them. So quite high numbers, but we hope that with time and as municipalities continue to opt into allowing cannabis businesses in their jurisdictions, we hope to see those percentages decrease. The deadlines, notably, the deadlines for approximately 10 medical 2019 RFA winners to be permitted and operational have passed. If you are one of those 2019 RFA award winners, please, please, please contact your assigned investigator immediately if you need more time. As stipulated in the final agency decisions that are given to all of the medical RFA award winners, there is a time period. You only have a certain amount of time to be operational and get going. But a number of folks have not contacted their assigned investigators to give them updates on where they are and why they are not operational. So reach out to your assigned investigators. So missing these deadlines, it's really important because missing these deadlines can result in rescission of the award. So submit an extension request as soon as possible if you find that you need an extension. The process for requesting extensions is on our website. On our cannabis business page, you'll see on the right-hand side information about the extension request process, who qualifies to ask for an extension, and then there is a button to complete that will actually give you the form itself to complete to request an extension. And that is all that I have for the Permitting and Licensing Committee report. So if there are any questions from the board, I'm happy to entertain those. All right, hearing none, then we will move forward.
Next item on the agenda is the consideration of applications for name changes.
Director Brown, can you please provide a summary of the applications that have been received for name changes?
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have 3 applications for name changes, all of which have been previously awarded by the Commission and are applying for name changes. The first is CSD Manufacturing LLC, which seeks to be newly named Disco Fries LLC. J&J Flowers LLC seeks to be named J&J Cannabis Dispensary LLC, and then WR Wellness LLC to Bay Street Greenery LLC. They've all submitted the paperwork, filed with Treasury, met our requirements, and are recommended for approval.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Director Brown on the name changes, the information on name changes that he provided? All right. Hearing none, I will ask for a motion on this matter.
Madam Chairwoman, I move that we approve the application to name change of the business names for adult use license awardees. Applicant names, CSDE Manufacturing LLC, J&J Flowers LLC, and WR Wellness LLC.
Moved by Vice Chair Delgado. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Nash. Is there any discussion on this motion? Hearing none, Mr. Said, can you please call the vote?
Commissioner Barker,
Aye.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Vice Chair Delgado,
Aye.
Chairwoman Wenu.
Yes.
The resolution passes. Next item on the agenda is the consideration of applications for ownership changes for TerraSend.
All right. Director Brown, I turn it over to you for a summary.
Thank you, Chair Wenu. We have two applications for ownership changes, one from TerraSend and then one from Verano. We're going to cover TerraSend first. So TerraSend proposes to change the ownership of two licenses to two adult use retail licenses while retaining a similar, existing ownership structure for other licenses and permits. In short, this is not allowable pursuant to our regulations. There's one person, one owner, one license holder, one person, one principal, one license holder. And therefore, for that and other reasons outlined in the memo before you, staff is recommending denial for this ownership change.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the board regarding the information provided by Director Brown? Hearing none, I will ask for a motion on this matter.
Madam Chair, I move to approve the resolution denying the transfer of ownership for two Class 5 retailer licenses owned by TerraSend NJ LLC and expanded ATC.
I second that.
Moved by Commissioner Nash, seconded by Commissioner Barker. Is there any discussion on this motion? I think that, thank you, Director Brown, and for your team for the information and looking into the potential issues here, of which there are many, right? So for the, as it pertains to our regulations, New Jersey's regulations regarding ownership is quite clear, that this would not be allowed. Furthermore, on a practical standpoint, I don't know how a business would operate to be in the same facility, in the same shop as an entirely different entity, and purport to not have, you be using the same individuals, same employees, the same access to security measures and protocols. So I think there are a whole host of practical implementation challenges to maintain separate businesses that are operating out of one location. But to me, the concerns here, when I look at the information, I'm a bit baffled by the request, but I think it's clear that the rules and regulations require that any entity that wants to operate a cannabis business in the state needs to submit an application to do so, and cannot simply be created out of thin air. So that is my comment on this item. Any other discussion?
Good here.
All right, hearing no further discussion, Mr. Said, can you please call the vote?
Commissioner Barker,
Nay.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Vice Chair Delgado,
Yes.
and Chairwoman Wenu.
Yes.
The resolution passes. Next item on the agenda is the consideration of applications for ownership changes for Verano.
Director Brown, I pass the floor back over to you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Here, Verano simply proposes to remove an intermediary or holding company from their ownership structure. The ownership would otherwise stay the same. The individuals and ultimate parent company remain the same. Everyone involved has been appropriately vetted, and they've paid the requisite fees. Therefore, staff recommends approving the ownership change proposed by Verano.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the board regarding the information provided by Director Brown?
Nope.
Hearing no questions, I will ask for a motion on this matter as it pertains to Verano NJ LLC.
Madam Chair, I move to approve the resolution for the transfer of ownership of Verano, New Jersey LLC from Verano NJ Holdings LLC to Verano Holdings LLC.
I second.
Moved by Commissioner Nash, seconded by Vice Chair Delgado. Is there any discussion on this motion? Hearing no discussion, Mr. Said, can you please call the vote?
Commissioner Barker,
Aye.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Vice Chair Delgado,
Yes.
and Chairwoman Wainu.
Yes.
The resolution passes. Next item for consideration is a medicinal cannabis business, GTI, requesting a satellite facility.
Director Brown, I give the floor to you to provide a summary of the request from GTI.
Thank you, Chair. Green Thumb Industries, GTI, has applied for a new satellite cultivation facility. This satellite cultivation facility is authorized by statute. The statute says the commission shall authorize ATCs, certain ATCs, to have up to 150,000 square feet at up to 2 facilities. So GTI is applying under that authority. They've submitted all the requisite information to commission staff, including site plans, the municipal approval, the expansion justification, patient access plan, all the site control documents, as well as a labor peace agreement between GTI New Jersey and bona fide labor organization. It has been reviewed. Staff believes it is compliant with our regulations for medicinal cannabis facilities, and therefore is ready for permitting. In fact, we've already inspected it, and it is ready to go. So staff recommends approving the permitting of GTI's cultivation facility in Hackettstown, which it will additionally be. It will start medicinal only. This is for medicinal permitting only, and then could apply for under the expansion criteria and our adult use rules in the future.
Thank you, Director Brown. Are there any questions from the board regarding the information provided by Director Brown? Hearing none. Is there a motion on this matter as it pertains to GTI?
Yes, Madam Chairwoman, I move that we accept the application by GTI New Jersey LLC for the permitting of a satellite cultivation location for municipal cannabis in Hackettstown, New Jersey.
Moved by Vice Chair Delgado. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Nash. Commissioner Barker, you got it quicker than that. Is there any discussion on this motion? Hearing none. Mr. Said, can you please call the vote?
Commissioner Barker,
Aye.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Vice Chair Delgado,
Yes.
Chairwoman Wainu.
Yes.
The resolution passes. Next item for consideration is the conditional license applications.
With respect to annual license, or adult use cannabis licenses, Director Brown, I give the floor to you to provide a summary on the license applications up for consideration.
Great. Thank you, Madam Chair. So I'm going to go over the process used for all of these applications, and then we'll get into the specifics for each cohort, starting with conditionals, then conversion to annual, and then finally annuals. In total, we have 40 conditionals, 35 conversions to annuals from conditionals, and 14 annuals up for consideration. The process, when applications are received, they are assigned a priority based on what they apply as, and as Director McWhite outlined, that's critical start to the process because that provides the order along with the time submitted for which applications are reviewed. That priority is verified to ensure they qualify either as a social equity business, diversity owned business, impact zone business, or otherwise. Then staff conducts a completeness review to make sure all the pieces of the application required by statute and regulation are there. Finally, applications are scored. They either get points or don't. It's kind of a pass-fail. And applications that score sufficiently high, that get the full points, are then able to move forward. Staff then reviews applications that score sufficiently high for qualification, limitations, as well as a review of financial and management services agreements to the extent they exist. And this can include, when we're talking about annuals and conditional conversions, criminal history background check, as well as a review of their financial sources. And then finally, the qualification review, quality control, which, makes sure everything is there that needs to be there, and then a recommendation to the CRC board. So all the applications that are recommended today have gone through all those steps. The conditionals do not undergo a criminal history background check, do not undergo the full qualification review, but the other applications have and are recommended for approval. So we'll start with the conditionals, and I think they should be up on the screen there, and back to you.
All right. So again, as we are now doing, thank you, Director Brown. For those at home or those unable to keep up with the fine print on the screen, because I know my tired eyes can barely read anything, this list of applications that is being considered today is on our website. If you go to the public meetings page, under our agenda, we have hyperlinked the applications that are up for consideration today. So with that, are there any questions from the board for Director Brown about the conditional license applications received? Hearing none, is there a motion on this matter?
Madam Chair, I move that we consider the conditional license applications for approval.
For approval, all right, moved by Commissioner Barker. Is there a second?
Second.
Yep.
Seconded by Commissioner Nash. Is there any discussion on this motion? Hearing no discussion, Mr. Said, can you please call the vote?
Commissioner Barker,
Aye.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Vice Chair Delgado,
Yes.
and Chairwoman Wainu.
Yes.
The resolution passes. Next item for consideration is the adult use cannabis business application, conversion license applications.
Director Brown, I'll turn it over to you to describe the conversion, the applications to convert a conditional license to an annual license.
Thank you. So these applications follow the exact process that I outlined before. They go through licensing, they are complete, they have priority verification, they are scored sufficiently high, they undergo an investigation for both criminal history as well as financial sources, and then they're QC'd and recommended for approval. And so all of these conversion applications before the board have gone through that process and are recommended for approval. Yes, back to you.
Great, thank you. Any questions from the board regarding the applications to convert an annual license to, a conditional license to an annual license? No questions from the board. Is there a motion on this matter?
Yes, Madam Chair. I would like to amend the resolution to remove 2583 for consideration today.
There's a motion to remove application number, what was the application number again?
2583 Cannabis Clubhouse.
2583, to remove that application from consideration today, is that correct?
That's correct.
Moved by Commissioner Nash. Commissioner Nash, would you care to detail what next steps you see for this particular application?
I think we need to take a look at the application a little more and come back after we're satisfied that we have the answers to our questions.
Moved by Commissioner Nash. Is there a second on this motion?
Madam Chairwoman, I second.
Seconded by Vice Chair Delgado. Is there any discussion on this motion to remove application number 2583 from consideration for further review?
Madam Chair, I just wanted to note on the record, staff does not object to this motion. We're totally fine with it and understand the concerns.
Great. Thank you, Director Brown. Hearing no discussion on the motion to remove application number 2583 from consideration for the time being for further review. Mr. Said, can you please call the vote?
Commissioner Barker,
Aye.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Vice Chair Delgado,
Yes.
and Chairwoman Wainu.
Yes.
The resolution passes.
So application number 2583 has been removed, and so we will revisit that at a later date. Is there a motion as it pertains to the remaining applications to convert a conditional license to an annual license?
Madam Chair, I would like to move to approve the resolution for consideration of applications to convert from conditional to annual Class 1 cannabis cultivator, Class 2 manufacturer, and Class 5 retailer.
Moved by Commissioner Nash. Is there a second?
I second.
that. I was defer to you. Defer to
I'm a
you.
lot
sir.
older than you there.
A lot wiser. You got it. You got it.
Seconded by Vice Chair Delgado. Is there any discussion on this motion to approve the remaining applications for conversion? Hearing no discussion. Mr. Said, can you please call the vote?
Commissioner Barker,
Aye.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Vice Chair Delgado,
Yes.
and Chairwoman Wainu.
Yes.
The resolution passes. Next item for consideration is the adult use cannabis business annual license applications.
So I believe for these applications, we have a few recusals. So we will have to break this up into 3 parts. And so with that, I will turn it over to Director Brown to provide a summary on the applications for an annual license that have been received.
Thank you, Madam Chair. These applications, similar to the conditional conversions, 2 annuals underwent priority assignment, priority verification, completeness review, scored sufficiently high to be considered by the commission, have undergone review of qualification limitations, financial management agreement review. We've conducted quality control, and they're all recommended to the Board of Commissioners for approval. I believe there are 14 in the first cohort here. All of them are recommended for approval, and they should be on the slide, I believe.
Next slide, please.
There we go.
All right, perfect, thank you. All right, any questions from the board regarding this group of 14 applications for an annual license? Hearing no questions from the board, is there a motion on this matter?
Madam Chair, I move to approve the resolution for consideration of annual license applications for Class 1 and Class 2 licenses.
Moved by Commissioner Nash. Is there a second? I will second the motion. Is there any discussion on this motion? Hearing no discussion. Mr. Said, can you please call the vote?
Commissioner Barker,
Nay.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Vice Chair Delgado,
Yes.
Chairwoman Wainu.
Yes.
The resolution passes. Next item for consideration is the annual license application numbers 1341 and 1360. Chairwoman Wainu
Oh, yeah, you got it.
has recused herself from application 1341 and 1360 for Stonehill Manufacturing LLC. On account of her recusal, she will remove herself from the public meeting while the board considers this particular application. Afterward, Chairwoman Wainu will come back in and will take up the next order of business.
Okay, and following Chairwoman Waynu's process, Commissioner Brown, I will turn it over to you for a summary on Stone.
Director Brown.
Stone,
Thank you,
Thank you.
Mr. Vice Chair. So these two applications from Stonehill Manufacturing LLC followed the exact same process. They've undergone full review by staff, scored sufficiently high, undergone the qualification review, quality control, and are now recommended to the Board of Commissioners for approval.
Thank you, Director Brown.
You're welcome.
Thank you. So with that summary, do I hear a motion on the floor to accept the consideration annual license application for Stonehill Manufacturing LLC?
Vice Chair, I move to approve the resolution for consideration of annual license applications for Stonehill Manufacturing.
Do I have a second?
I second that.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Barker. Is there any discussion on the floor? Hearing no.
Briefly, I just would ask staff, could you please confirm the status of the community agreements and the social equity initiatives before license issuance for this applicant?
Yes,
Thank you.
and we will report back to the board on that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Barker. Thank you. With that, call the roll.
Commissioner Barker,
Aye.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Vice Chair Delgado.
Yes,
The resolution passes.
thank you. And call Madam Chairwoman back. Madam Chairwoman, I turn the floor back to you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Delgado. Mr. Said,
Okay.
please announce the next item.
Next item for consideration is the annual license application number 2047. Commissioner Nash has recused herself from application 2047 for Bridge City Collective Franklin Township Cannabis Dispensary LLC. On account of her recusal, she will remove herself from the public meeting while the board considers this particular application. Afterward, Commissioner Nash will come back in and will take up the next order of business.
Thank you. Director Brown, I turn it over to you for summary on application number 2047.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll just note that this application has followed the exact same process as previously explained on the record and is recommended for approval by the commission.
Thank you. Any questions from the board for Director Brown related to application number 2047? Hearing none. Mr. Said, I'm sorry.
Motion.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, thank you. Is there a motion on this matter as it pertains to application number 2047?
Madam Chairwoman, I move that we accept application ID number 2047.
Moved by Vice Chair Delgado. Is there a second? I will second the motion. Is there any discussion on this motion to, as it relates to application number 2047 for approval? No discussion. Mr. Said, can you please call the vote?
Commissioner Barker,
Nay.
Vice Chair Delgado,
Yes.
Chairwoman Wainu.
Yes.
Resolution doesn't pass.
The resolution does not pass. The board has not taken action on this item.
Thank you. Is there? Is there another motion on this matter, on this, I'm sorry, on this application number 2047?
Madam Chairwoman, I again move that we accept application ID 2047.
Vice Chair Delgado would like to move to, again, to accept the application, I'm sorry, to approve the application number 2047. Respectfully, Vice Chair Delgado, I think since we just had that motion, your reiterated support is noted. However, I don't believe it necessary to entertain the motion again.
Yes.
However, if there is no other motion on the matter, I believe this can be go back to staff for reconsideration and further assessment, and then come back to the board for any additional, or for review and consideration for action.
Very well. No discussion on my side.
So the board has not taken action yet on this item, so it remains pending with the commission until we revisit it at a later date. So, Mr. Said, you can now announce the next agenda item.
Next item for consideration is the Expanded Alternative Treatment Center certifications.
So we'll give Commissioner Nash a moment to get back to her seat, and then I'll turn it over to Director Brown for summary remarks on this item. Director Brown.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So we have 4 Alternative Treatment Center adult use expansion certifications for review. As an overview of what we look at here, what's required by statute and by regulation and guidance are municipal approval to expand into adult use or recreational sales, proof of sufficient supply to continue to meet patient demand after expansion, plans to ensure patient access even while serving recreational consumers, and plans to address social equity and safety. Our consideration of these expansions is focused on patients, the number of patients enrolled statewide, patient enrollment at the specific ATC, inventory both statewide and at the ATC, sales at the ATC, current medicinal cannabis canopy needed to serve enrolled patients, and the ATC's production capacity in the event they are a cultivator or a manufacturer. The 4 expansions today are all retailers, 2 of which are going for Class 5 retailers first as part of vertically integrated entities, and then the other 2 are standalone Class 5 retailers. These are Aunt Mary's in Flemington, Brute's Roots in Egg Harbor Township, Design 710 right here in Atlantic City, and Urban Dispensary in Newark. And so all of these, staff recommends accepting their certification. They've showed municipal approval. They've showed they can meet both patient need as well as recreational demand, and they've shown that they have processes in place to comply with the requirements of expansion, which include continuing to prioritize patients even amidst recreational sales. So all 4 of them are recommended for approval, and I think I'll just turn it over to Mr. Said. Well, back to you, Madam Chair, but he can just call each vote, and if there are any questions for any of them, I'm happy to answer them.
Any questions from the board regarding the information provided by Director Brown?
No.
Hearing none. Mr. Said, can you please announce the entity, the expanded ATC certification up first for consideration for the board?
Up first for consideration is Aunt Mary's.
For Aunt Mary's, is there a motion as it relates to Aunt Mary's expanded ATC certification?
Madam Chairwoman, I move that we accept Aunt Mary's standard ATD certification.
Moved by Vice Chair Delgado. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Nash. Is there any discussion on this motion as it relates to Aunt Mary's? Hearing none. Mr. Said, can you please call the vote?
Commissioner Barker,
Nay.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Vice Chair Delgado,
Yes.
Chairwoman Wainu.
Yes.
The resolution passes. Next item for voting is Brute's Roots.
With respect to Brute's Roots, is there a motion as it relates to Brute's Roots request to be an expanded ATC?
Madam Chairwoman, I move that we accept the certification for Alternative Treatment Center to Brute's Roots to expand to adult personal cannabis use market.
Moved by Vice Chair Delgado. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Nash. Is there any discussion on the motion as it relates to Brute's Roots expanded ATC certification? Hearing none. Mr. Said, can you please call the vote?
Commissioner Barker,
Nay.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Vice Chair Delgado,
Yes.
and Chairwoman Wainu.
Yes.
The resolution passes. Next item for a vote is Design 710.
For Design 710, is there a motion on their request to become an expanded ATC?
Madam Chair, I move to approve the resolution to accept the certification for urban, was it urban? Oh, I'm sorry.
Design 710.
Design 710, to expand operations to the adult personal use cannabis market.
Moved by Commissioner Nash. Is there a second?
I second.
Seconded by Vice Chair Delgado. Is there any discussion on this motion as it relates to Design 710? Hearing none, Mr. Said, can you please call the vote?
Commissioner Barker,
Aye.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Vice Chair Delgado,
Yes.
Chairwoman Wainu.
Yes.
The resolution passes. Next item up for voting is urban.
Is there a motion as it relates to the request to become an expanded ATC from Urban Dispensary?
Madam Chair, I move to approve the resolution for acceptance of the certification of Urban Dispensary to expand operations to adult personal use cannabis market.
Moved by Commissioner Nash. Is there a second?
I second.
Seconded by Vice Chair Delgado. Is there any discussion on this motion as it relates to Urban Dispensary? Hearing none, Mr. Said, can you please call the vote?
Commissioner Barker,
Abstain.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Vice Chair Delgado,
Yes.
Chairwoman Wainu.
Yes.
The resolution passes. Next item for consideration is the annual license renewals.
Director Brown, you have the floor to provide a summary of the applications to renew the annual cannabis business license.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have one annual license renewal. It's from Columbia Care's Class 1 cultivator in Vineland, New Jersey. Columbia Care's other locations were up for renewal at a previous meeting. When looking at the renewal application, Columbia Care had to submit certification as to the continued material accuracy of the expanded ATC's previous approved ATC license application and its compliance of the provisions of the Act regarding its operations concerning cannabis and cannabis items, updated written approval from the municipalities in which the expanded ATC is located, approving the continued operations as a cannabis business. Additionally, staff reviews ongoing compliance with our full range of rules, including requirements that they submitted social equity plans as part of their ATC expansion service certifications, and Director McWhite's office is very involved with getting monthly or quarterly reports from them on their progress. Columbia Care is recommended for renewal. They certified, and staff recommends accepting their certification of the continued material accuracy, including they submitted the updated written approval. They've updated their LPA, their labor peace agreement, and we don't see any areas of concern at the moment for compliance there. Additionally, Director McWhite's Office of Diversity and Inclusion, has said that they do not have any concerns with the renewal. Therefore, Columbia Care is recommended for renewal for their Class 1 license in Vineland.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the board with respect to the information provided by Director Brown? Hearing none, is there a motion on this matter as it relates to Columbia Care New Jersey LLC?
Madam Chairwoman, I move that we accept the renewal of adult use cannabis business license for expanded alternative treatment center for Columbia Care New Jersey LLC.
Moved by Vice Chair Delgado. Is there a second? I will second the motion. Is there any discussion on this motion?
Madam Chair, may I? I have staff's recommendations with respect to the compliance with the labor provisions, and I'm not so sure that I'm satisfied with the information that was provided, so I will be abstaining from this vote.
Is there any other discussion, any further discussion on this motion? Hearing none. Mr. Said, can you please call the vote?
Commissioner Barker,
Nay.
Commissioner Nash,
Abstain.
Vice Chair Delgado,
Yes.
Chairwoman Waynu.
Yes.
The resolution does not pass. The board has not taken action on this item.
Thank you. Is there, I will ask again for a motion on this item as it relates to Columbia Care New Jersey LLC and their application to renew their annual license.
Madam Chairwoman, I once again move that we renew the adult use cannabis business license for Columbia Care.
Vice Chair Delgado moves again to accept the renewal, the license renewal for Columbia Care. I will second the motion and ask for any discussion.
Yes, I would like to ask, can we place conditions on this license to perhaps take a look at where they are at in their labor? I know they have an LPA, but I would like to get an update from staff, maybe in a month, as to what progress they're making in terms of their labor peace agreements, their negotiations with CBAs.
So Commissioner Nash, you're requesting an update in 1 month, is that right?
Yes. Could we get that? Okay, that would be helpful.
Yes, Madam Chair and Commissioner Nash, if the understanding is that we would approve the renewal with the condition that we get that update and provide it to the commission for review, staff would support that.
That would be fine.
Was that the only condition, Commissioner Nash, that you were proposing for
Yes.
for this item? Okay. So I think that the condition approval, I think, sounds reasonable. And so then the motion currently on the table is still to accept the renewal of the license for this entity. So any further discussion as it pertains to this motion?
Nope.
All right, hearing none. Mr. Said, can you please call the vote?
Commissioner Barker,
Nay.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes, with the condition.
Vice Chair Delgado,
Yes.
Chairwoman Waynu.
Yes.
The resolution passes. Next, we have the open public comment period.
So the time is 1:54. Before we start the public comment period, I want to give folks an opportunity for a quick break, if folks need it. Folks feel like they need it? Yes, okay, I see some head nodding, great. I'll give folks, we'll resume, we'll take a short recess of 5 minutes. We'll resume at the top of the hour at 2 o'clock. Public comments. Members of the public can submit public comments, members of the public can submit comments both during or after this meeting via our website, nj.gov/cannabis/meetings. The deadline for submitting written comments for today's meeting is 5:00 p.m. tomorrow, Wednesday, July 19th. Written comments will be shared with the public, with the commission members, and will be made public. Speakers will be limited to 3 minutes each. There will be a timer here counting down your time, and you'll hear a buzzer go off when time is up. The public comment period really is meant for the commission to hear from members of the public about issues and matters that the commission should be aware of. It's not a place for people to simply advertise private businesses, so please be mindful of that. And so we have one of our staff members will call out the registered speakers. When your name is called, you'll be able to come to the front, sit down, the microphone is already on, and once the timer is set, you will be able to provide your remarks. With that, Mr. Saeed, please call on our first set of speakers.
Thank you, Chairwoman. As a reminder, public speakers during this afternoon's public comment period will be limited to 3 minutes. Please be respectful and concise during your comments. The first three are Alberto Nicasio, Bo Nair, and Chief Vincent Mann. If you're here in the room, please step up. Also, just,
Hello, how you doing?
Reiterate your name, please.
My name's Alberto Nicasio. Good afternoon, members of the CRC. My name is Alberto Nicasio, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Cannabis Transports, LLC, a cannabis delivery company based out of Atlantic County, New Jersey. Thank you for hosting this public meeting in South Jersey, and thank you for all the work you put in thus far. As a social equity business, Cannabis Transports is preparing to apply for a Class 6 delivery license. We've been working on partnerships with reputable dispensaries and working to obtain local approvals. We're eager to contribute to the growth and success of New Jersey cannabis industry. However, I would like to bring up some concerns regarding the delivery model. Is there a centralized live sync inventory management system that connects dispensaries to the would-be e-commerce infrastructure of delivery companies? Additionally, we would like to inquire whether the CRC has explored the possibility of granting delivery companies access to the cannabis supply chain. States like California, New York, and Massachusetts have implemented regulations that allow delivery companies to maintain their own inventory. This approach provides more control and flexibility for delivery companies while ensuring compliance with regulatory requirements. The current delivery model poses unfavorable margins for delivery companies as they are essentially only generating revenue through delivery fees. If delivery companies could acquire products at wholesale prices, maintain their own inventory, and sell at retail prices with an added premium for delivery, it would significantly improve profitability and allow for a more sustainable business model. Delivery companies can maximize their potential for financial success. By allowing delivery companies to store their own inventory, it would empower us to serve customers efficiently and maintain a diverse product selection. This model has been successfully implemented in other states and could be considered a way to foster innovation and competition within New Jersey's cannabis delivery market. As we prepare to submit our application, we eagerly await the release of the updated Notice of Application Acceptance Guidelines from the Commission. We are fully prepared to comply with all necessary requirements. We encourage the Commission to explore granting delivery companies access to the supply chain, enabling us to maintain our own inventory. This proven approach from other states offers substantial benefits to both delivery companies and consumers. Cannabis Transports is committed to creating a unique and distinctive brand identity separate from dispensaries. We aim to create a personalized customer experience that reflects our own values, standards, and commitment to service. Thank you for your time. We appreciate the opportunity to speak to you today.
I'll just go over the names again. Bo Nair, Chief Vincent Mann. All right, the next three are Christopher Rodman, Claudia Post, and David Fetter.
I'm sorry. I actually have a group that wants to come up together, if it's okay. We're all signed up, but if that's all right with you.
With which, I'm
What?
sorry?
With, not this young man, but this young man.
What's his name?
His name is Tyon Bryant, and my name is Fruquan Muzan.
Did you call out?
No.
He hasn't been called yet.
Well, some of them did, that's why I'm like.
Oh,
if
so,
there's a
sorry,
way
which
that we could
ones were
all-
called?
We called Claudia and we called Chris.
Oh,
But if-
okay,
If we
all right.
could do all four, I got it.
That's fine, that's fine,
Is-
yes.
okay.
go.
I need one extra chair. Sorry for the confusion.
Pull up. Take
Just before you all start, can you just each say your names, please?
Fruquan Muzan, M-O-U-Z-O-N.
Claudia Post.
Okay. Thank you.
Christopher Robin.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Fruquan Muzan. I'm a partner at a law firm, Fox Rothschild. Now, how I got involved in the marijuana business was more by force than by choice. I was the general counsel for the Senate Majority Office 2015 to 2019, and during that time was when we actually put the meat to the bones to try and figure out how to make marijuana legal in the state of New Jersey. Originally, the plan was simple: regulate, tax, legalize. Senator Scutari said, let's just do that, 50-page legislation. Then the late, great mentor of mine, Ron Rice, walks in and says, I don't like it, because rich white people from out of state are going to come in, take all the money, and leave. So we thought it was dead in the water at that time, but we figured it out. That's why you see conditional licenses for people that aren't wealthy, micro licenses for people that are local. Consumption areas are in place because a lot of towns have a lot of public housing and apartment complexes, and people can't partake in their residence, so we have to have consumption lounges for them to participate. Impact zones, goals for minority-owned women, minority and women-owned businesses. I think it's the best legislation in the country, not just because I worked on it, but I think it's the best legislation in the country. And I think you guys are doing a great job in implementing the plan, and it's pretty much rolling out exactly how we had envisioned it. Now, since returning to private practice, I have all levels of clients. 2 of the MSOs are mine, countless numbers of women and minority-owned businesses, and quite a few social equity businesses. So I think I have a very good understanding of what it takes to get a license approved and to operate in the state of New Jersey. Now, while I totally understand the Commission's instinct to want to help social equity applicants, we all do, but preventing others from being allowed to apply for delivery, distribution, or wholesale license does not help social equity candidates. It just hurts everybody else. So I'm here to ask the Commission to reconsider not allowing everyone to apply on day one, as you've done with all the other license types now. As I mentioned, I got quite a few social equity applicants. One of my clients is Jersey Leaf, a social equity applicant in Jersey City. I'm happy to report they will be open probably before the end of the year. That's a success story. But many social equity applicants are struggling, for sure. But the problem is not the competition, and the problem is not the CRC's unwillingness to review their applications first or to award the licenses. There are 4 major obstacles to getting a license in New Jersey. Number 1, location, location, location. You have to find a town that hasn't opted out, that lets you do the type of license that you want. Oh, and by the way, you can only find a location in this part of town. That's a major obstacle. Sorry. A couple more minutes. Second, obtain a local approval from the government bodies and get a resolution, which is particularly difficult with the license limits most municipalities have. And having some expertise in business, I think, is crucial. And last, but certainly not least, enough money to execute the plan. So in other words, not letting everyone apply for a delivery license at the same time, as was done with every other license type, does not help social equity applicants get open. It only hurts everyone else. Now, what I've brought here is 3 people that are affected by that rule that's going to make people wait an extra year. First up is Tyon Bryant. He's from Roll Up Life. Now, Tyon's not a client of mine, but he's a good friend of mine. And I would say delivery licenses came from Assemblyman Holly. Like, he actually came in the room and he said, these things are going to be expensive. I want a license that young people can get that doesn't cost a whole lot of money. Prototype, Tyon Bryant. And he's here to speak about his experience and how it's been a problem for him.
So, sorry, before you speak, Mr. Bryant, just be mindful, that you've got the timer here, so you'll each get your 3 minutes as registered speakers. Go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. So to everybody that doesn't know me, good afternoon. My name is Tyon Bryan. I'm the founder and CEO of Roll Up Life, Inc., where our mission is to provide the world a seamless solution to cannabis. We are a cannabis technology company where we leverage our Roll Up Life platform to execute our current CBD deliveries, as well as optimizing the way that cannabis is sold and transformed through the state of New Jersey and hopefully beyond. We are in full control of our own app suite, so our delivery service software, our order management system, as well as our consumer side of the business, all concluded under our cloud-based infrastructure. All of this through the last 5 years of building Roll Up Life for delivery primed for September was all for naught, it seems, right? When I first met you, Senator Charles Barkley, you worked for Senator Cory Booker. I was probably like barely 21 at the time when I first was telling you about the idea of Roll Up Life. And here we are right now, and it's you and me, right? Like, ironically, right? So the thing about it is, all right, so I'm from the city of East Orange, which half of the city qualifies as an EDA and half of it doesn't. I fall in the border of living next door to a building that's in the EDA, but my building does not qualify for the EDA, even though it's owned by the same properties, right? All of the same things that we go through in the city of East Orange, there's no barrier in between us, right? Like, as the barrier that's becoming between the social equity companies and minority-owned businesses. The only difference is I didn't go to jail, and I don't live next door. So now, something that I've been preparing for longer than anybody in the state of New Jersey, if we're being completely honest. Now, I won't be in, which will probably dramatically affect our economy here, as most of the companies are under contract with Roll Up Life anyway, if we're being specific. So my thing is while we're understanding that we need to help people in the social equity lane, as for all of the things that we've done in the community, I understand that thoroughly. My older brother's in jail currently right now. But do we also have to do that in spite of companies like mine, where the only thing that doesn't qualify me or make me a social equity company is I don't live next door or I wasn't arrested? And these are the things that I believe Fruquan was saying, that while we want to help some people, we're hurting the industry in a whole. And then secondly, if we're thinking about where New Jersey is opened up, right? Most of these areas aren't EDA areas, correct, right? So if we're thinking about the operating pool that we actually have, where are these applicants going to come from? And that's my piece.
Thanks. Good afternoon, and thank you for allowing me to address you today.
Please,
Oh, sorry.
just please repeat your name again.
Oh, I'm sorry. Claudia Post.
Thank you.
Again, thank you for allowing me to address you today. I come to you with a 20-year-plus background in transportation, logistics, supply chain, and chain of custody. If I ask people to raise their hand in this audience and ask them, have you ever delivered a package? Have you ever delivered a Schedule I narcotic? I know this because I've asked many people who want to go out for the license. My role is to help educate people as to not only the cannabis rules and regs, but the transportation rules and regs. I operated companies up and down the East Coast. That's warehousing, distribution, pick, pack, ship, anything that has to do with delivery, I've done it. And I'm a subject matter expert. Now 13 years into cannabis. I have I call myself a unicorn. I don't know anybody that has, there must be somebody that has both, all of those years of experience in cannabis and in transportation. I am here today to offer my services to help people stand up their companies, be successful, employ people. I myself am going out for 2 licenses, distribution and last mile. I call that last mile direct to consumer. I have had hundreds of drivers on the road. I know all the rules, the regs. I know all of the technology that's important to report to metric. What I want to do is spare people losing their licenses because they're out of compliance. I am here to help people stay compliant, to help people stand up in their businesses, support the American dream, which is real, right? Small business. I'm a small business person, entrepreneur, and I would love to be able to do that. I am advocating for the reversal of the decision of the June 1st public meeting and request that the logistics licenses are prioritized according to the same schedule as other classes of licenses, so that I too can have a business and I can help others stay in business, because I have all that industry knowledge, and I'm here today, and I thank you so much for your time. More to say, but look how good I was. Okay.
Thank you, Claudia. Yeah, I stole a couple of minutes, sorry about that. Christopher Rodman.
Yeah, if you can
Good
get a little
afternoon,
bit.
my name is Christopher
Sorry,
Rodman.
if you can get a little closer to the microphone,
I got
we've got a court reporter that's using the
got you.
recording, so thank you.
Good afternoon, my name is Christopher Rodman. I am one of the founders and shareholders in a company called Immunio Logistics. Excuse me. Immunio has been preparing to apply for this license for over 2 years. In doing so, we got private investors, some of which are my family members. To date, we've spent over $200,000 in renting a warehouse that we acquired in Garfield. Understandably, all my investors are growing anxious because, like I said, it's been 2 years and we just got a little backed off by the June meeting, and I'm sorry, I was good to go up until I actually sat in front of the
Take your
mic.
time, brother. Take your time, man. Take your time. Take your time.
A little about myself. I am African American, and I have a history that I've been affected by the criminal justice system. In fact, I spent a little over a decade in prison. Ever since my release, I've worked so hard. And let me just say this. Let me stop looking at this. After my release, all I've done is work. I worked in the liquor industry, working in warehouses, driving trucks. I've worked in the auto parts industry, doing management and sales. Now I'm currently a truck driver. I just acquired my CDL license last year. As much as I like driving a truck, it's not what I want to do in my life. I do not want to work for somebody for the rest of my life, especially somebody that doesn't look like me. Again, I have a wife, 5 children at home. To be hired as a COO of a company like Immunio, it's one of my biggest dreams come true. To look back and see that the progress I've made to come to this point, through all the railroads and roadblocks that I've hit because of my past, I felt like the board making that decision was also a slap in my face, and as well as my team members, because I felt like we didn't do anything but work towards what's to come. But being pushed back a whole nother year, you're asking us to spend $180,000 in rent of money of my investors. Give me 20 seconds. I'm asking that y'all overturn it because I'm tired of running into roadblocks. I'm used to being let down and being disappointed. But in this case, I'm begging because this is what I saw for my future and my family and me growing and to provide and do good things. And now I hit another roadblock with your June decision. I just ask that you overturn it, and I thank y'all for letting me speak. And I'm hot now.
All right, thank you.
Can I say one more thing? Yeah. May I?
Can you put it in writing?
Yeah, sure. I also second what Canada Transport said about the access to the supply chain, by the way, but that's for a different issue.
That's
That's for a different issue.
Next group of speakers, David July, Darsh Kasanathan, and Diana McElroy. Next group, okay, go ahead.
It's kind of hard to follow that. Hi there, Diana McElroy. My company is Higher High, and I'm here as a patient advocate today. I am here because things got real for me recently when a friend of mine got diagnosed with cancer. I'm sorry, I didn't expect this. I blame this on menopause. I feel like we need more education in the state. This product could help a lot of people, but they're afraid because pharmacists are not trained, doctors don't know, and we don't have, my friend can't swallow. We don't have suppositories. I feel like we can't forget the patients, and we have to be mindful. As much as I want everyone to make the money they are looking to make, I think that we need to, in the core, remember that it is a plant-based medicine. Thank you, and I'm sorry about the tears.
Next group is Dylan Youngklaus, Edward Linetsky, and Gabriel Barajas. Next group is Hugh Giordano, James Rogovich, and Jason Bacon.
Hello, Commission. Hugh Giordano, the United Food and Commercial Workers Union. We are the official labor union of cannabis workers under the guise of the AFL-CIO. When I speak, it's just to update the Commission of where we're at on labor standards and give some suggestions based on what we're seeing from workers and what we're hearing directly from workers as we speak to workers every day. One of the things that I think is important to realize is that layoffs is happening not only in New Jersey, but around the country and in Canada. It's an issue that we are dealing with in this industry, and I think it's something that we need to get more data on and understand why layoffs are happening, what causes layoffs. You know, we hear things such as too many licenses, so you look at Oregon, you look at Oklahoma, but we also know that there's also an issue where we have too much product and that's not selling. Those are just a couple points that I make, but it affects workers. At the end of the day, when we can't get the product out, when there's not enough opportunity to make profits, at the end of the day, it falls on the working class people, and we have to find out what's doing it. I know we can't avoid layoffs. I understand that. It's part of business. It's going to happen. Businesses are going to fail. Businesses will not produce, but we have to find a way to make sure that these workers are okay. I know the Commission has found ways to speak with employers to make sure that they give you notice, and we're happy about that, and we know that companies are now starting to do so. I think that one of the things that we're seeing, not only in New Jersey, but also around the country with companies, is that they lay off workers and they might give them a couple weeks of severance, but then they have them sign papers that says that you can never work again for that company. Those workers did not ask to be laid off. They would have worked there for the rest of their career. And I think that that's not fair to the workers. I know employers are trying to have recall language thanks to our discretion in getting involved and having partnerships that we have. Layoffs are bad, and we need to have more data, and we need to make sure that the cushion is there for the workers and that the future opportunity is not destroyed for them. Also, I would like to say that labor peace. What is labor peace? If labor peace agreements don't have neutrality, card check, and access, it's not a labor peace agreement, and it goes against exactly what the state wants, what the CRC wants, and what the mission was of the spirit of the law. That's our point. Good news is we had some good things happen. Update the Commission. We have finalized our collective bargaining agreement with Columbia Care. They have chosen us. We have worked hard. The workers voted on their contract. Columbia Care workers in Deptford now have a collective bargaining agreement. They have wages, guaranteed health care, and they can see improvement. I think that is it that I have. Thank you again. The UFCW is always going to be here for the mission of protecting workers. Thank you.
Next group of speakers is Jessie Marie Villers, Jordan Ellis, and Lonnie Afrim. Okay. Next group is Martha Figaro, Molly Hartman Lustig, Nakia Rivera. Okay.
Hello, my name is Nakia Rivera. I came prepared to discuss something else, but I have to admit I'm taken aback by the events that have occurred today. So I would like to say that I am a current worker in a dispensary. I'm not going to disclose which dispensary because I don't have permission to speak on their behalf. I am here solely to express my own opinions and thoughts. With that being said, the CRC has access to acres of diamonds, like me, like myself, in the industry already. Why not mine from there to get your social equity businesses and to reach all the quotas that the CRC has set in place? Because for me, myself personally, I live in an area and I check all the boxes. I work currently at a dispensary, but no one has ever come to any of the dispensary workers because we educate both the medical patients and the adult use patients every single day on all of our products. Because the first question they ask us is, have you tried it? What do you think? So I'm literally sitting here as a first contact with the people you're trying to educate. Why not come back to us? You have our background. We've already satisfied some of your requirements to be in the industry already. Why not come back to us to see if we qualify to get assistance to be an owner of a business or to help with educating the public outside of our regular work schedules? And again, I wasn't planning on saying that, but there it is. My name again is Nakia Rivera, and thank you very much for your time.
Next group of speakers is Paul Josephson, R. Todd Edwards, and Ramel Dash.
How you doing? My name is R. Todd Edwards. I am the Political Action Chairman, and I'm representing the NAACP State Conference today. This is a tough one for me. First of all, I would like to, introduce, like I said, myself, Todd Edwards. President Smith is our state president. I'm acknowledging him. First, I would like to compliment the CRC staff for what you guys are doing. God bless you. You have been dealt a hell of a hand, and you are working with it, and I appreciate you guys for that. I would like to acknowledge my mayor. My current mayor is here from Bridgeton, New Jersey, Mayor Albert Kelly. He's been very diligent in what's going on in the cannabis industry. Obviously, he's here and doing a wonderful job in our city of Bridgeton. But I am here not just to give you guys compliments and all that. I'm here also about the June 1st meeting. And I'm sort of torn because I've been at this game trying to get legalization in New Jersey since 2015 with the NAACP. And when I was at the table, I literally fought for the people who, what you guys are classifying or what we classified as social equity. The people who were arrested for selling small amounts, the people who were embarrassed, set on the curves in handcuffs, they are the people that I literally sat at the table and fought for. So I'm torn because I know Fuquan, I love what he's fighting for, but these individuals, I'm torn because do they need a license? Should they have a license? Absolutely. But do the people who are actually harmed and affected, who I fought for, need a step up in life and an opportunity? So the June 1st decision to give social equity license holders a 1-year Head Start, I called a mentor of mine, a guy who we fight in this fight together, Reverend Boyer, Salvation of Social Justice. I'm sure some of you guys know him. Reverend Boyer also agreed he wrestled with this because he's with me on it. It's affecting our people, and we got people in the audience that this is literally affecting, and I feel for him. But at the same time, there's people that I represent because my other hat is a consultant for this. But I consult the social equity guys, the guys who need this leg up. And so we came up with not just a June 1st plan, but if there's a way that you could tweak the June 1st plan, and even, because the people who were arrested, majority were black males in the industry. That's who I was sitting down, black and brown men. They were taken away from their kids, but left behind were the women to raise the kids. And now we're telling them that if they're a minority business owner, they can't get it. They also got to wait a year. So our tweaked plan was to bring them over, sorry, excuse me, a few more seconds, to bring them over to the June 1st decision, give them also a head start for the year. But in my president's words, and I agree with him wholeheartedly, we are giving these social equity license holders a car without an engine. Because you can give them the license all day, but I'm out here fighting for these people to get represented and get money, get all the things Fuquan named that they need, but they're not getting it easily. So to get a year head start, we're giving them a car, but we're not a motor. But we're fighting on that. I testified with you guys to our judiciary to try to get funding behind it. So that's where we are with that. And just because my time is up, also want to give you guys courtesy a heads up that I'm working with Atlantic City's Cannabis Director Cash, trying to get legislation passed for, let's call them the same way a liquor license can take off-premise permits. We would like the license holders in Atlantic City to also take off-premise and go through the commission, pay their fees, do whatever. We got to figure out how we can regulate it. But we want to be able to have, say, the MPXs of the world, be able to apply and get an off-premise for the day if they want to host something at an off-site and they get all the proper whatevers. So just know that's coming down the pike, and because there's partnerships in cannabis that you don't have to grow, you don't have to touch the leaf one way, but in our community, there's people who are lined up, ready to go to make money on different ways, and that would be a way that will help Atlantic City. So thank you very much.
Next group of speakers is Sergio Barraza Ingstrom, Shavonda Sumter, Sonia Mangalik. All right. Next group is Stephen Young, Travis Ally, and Wadiha Jackson.
I was like, I must be at the last of the list. Okay. Hi, my name is Wadiha Jackson. I am an applicant for delivery license 6, Bud Leaf Delivery, based in Maplewood, New Jersey. My background is in regulatory compliance and technology related to anti-money laundering laws and provisions. My desire was to bring my expertise in this, on this side of the tech side for logistics, for delivery. But I'm going to speak to the social equity aspect of it. As you've seen, most of my counterparts spoke today. Social equity is not just restricted to just a location.
Gentlemen, if you can keep it down a little bit, thank you.
It's not only impacted by a location. Although I have not been to any incarceration or jail or anything, I have been social equity impacted. I am a former resident of Jersey City, New Jersey, Orange and East Orange. My mother is a recovering drug addict. My father has been in the, not gonna say so much. However, I have been socially impacted. I've worked very hard and also done plenty of research, networking, building, interviewing in this cannabis field since 2015, looking at various legislations, tracking it before it came to New Jersey. So the impact, I understand wanting to provide a leg up for individuals that I truly support. I volunteer for the state of New Jersey. I am a court-appointed advocate for foster care kids because I don't want them to be advocated. I want to advocate for them because they are impacted what we're trying to help and assist. So this will impact the market space that by not allowing minority owners, minority women-owned businesses, veterans, that can potentially, if you revert back to the exclusivity period, back to the original thought process to allow us to come in December, possibly giving them that 90-day, I do believe in incentivizing that group participant in social equity, but I do think we need to consider that it will impact indirectly minority-owned, women-owned businesses, veterans that want to also expand into the market space as well. Thank you.
Chairwoman Wainu, that completes the list of speakers. Do you want me to go over the list of people that didn't show up?
If you could, that'd be great, just
Sure.
in case the folks stepped out at the time that their name was called.
Bo Nair, Chief Vincent Mann, David Fetter, David July, Darsh Kasanathan, Dylan Youngklaus, Edward Linetsky, Gabriel Barajas, James Rogovich, Jason Bacon, Jessie Marie Villers, Jordan Ellis, Lonnie Afreem, Matha Figaro, Molly Hartman Lustig, Paul Josephson, Ramel Dash, Sergio Barraza Ingstrom, Shavonda Sumter, Sonia Mangalik, Stephen Young, and Travis Ally.
Nobody spoke. Can I just say one thing?
I'm sorry, we do have a formal process for having folks register to speak, but anybody who would like to share their thoughts with the commission, we invite you to provide your comments in writing to us. That time window for submitting written comments to us doesn't close until tomorrow afternoon, till 5 p.m. tomorrow. So if you didn't get a chance to speak, please go to our website.
I'll be speaking at the next one.
Oh, perfect. Perfect.
So this concludes the registered speakers we have for today's meeting.
Thank you. And thank you to all of our speakers who shared their thoughts and their personal experiences. Thank you for sharing. This concludes the business that is before us today. I want to open the floor for any new business for the board to consider. I've got one myself. Oh, all right, Vice Chair Delgado.
Yeah, Madam Chairwoman and the board, I would like to move that we do reverse our June 1st amendment to the notice of application of acceptance for the new classes, the wholesale, the distributor, and the delivery services back to the original recommendation of staff, which was 90 days, as opposed to 365 days.
Moved by Vice Chair Delgado. Is there a second? I will second that motion. Is there any discussion on this motion?
Yeah, I'd like to discuss. I would just like to say that the marketplace is telling us, after the folks that came up and talked, I think the marketplace is telling us that moving that, making my motion to reverse this reversal is the right thing to do. And I hope that when we are called upon to vote, that we do vote for the reversal. Thank you, Madam Chairwoman.
Thank you, Vice Chair. I wholeheartedly agree. I think the individuals who spoke today illustrate that diversely owned businesses are impacted here. They are impacted by the decisions that the board makes, and these impacts are very real. As I mentioned, during the June 1st board meeting, when this item was being considered and discussed, I noted that there is a difference between diversely owned businesses and social equity businesses. And that social equity businesses is a very specific designation that has certain criteria that a lot of people simply don't meet. And if we want to see inclusion of our communities that have been underrepresented in the cannabis industry, I think it is well-intentioned, though not quite hitting the mark, to exclude diversely owned businesses from being able to submit applications to the CRC in a timely manner that will allow them to be able to get up and running. I think, especially when we hear people who are personally impacted by the entanglements in the criminal justice system, I think we have recognized, I think the state as a whole through the letter of our law, but the commission in particular has recognized that we need to divorce the idea of entanglement in the criminal justice system from your ability to provide for yourself and your family and your ability to start a business and run it well. And so I'm heartened by, I'm disheartened at the impact and the disappointment that our prospective applicants have felt by the decisions. But I agree with you, Chairman, I'm sorry. Vice Chair Delgado, that I think it is important, and I think it is the right thing to do, to go back to the original, the original proposal. And so before I leave the floor for any other discussion, I want to ask Director Brown if he could summarize for us the original proposal for the notice of application acceptance amendment, so that way folks are clear as
Absolutely.
to the motion that is on the table.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, members of the commission. So the original recommendation was for essentially staggered acceptance, starting with social equity businesses for 3 months, then adding in diversely owned businesses for another 3 months, resulting in a 6-month exclusive, application acceptance for social equity businesses and diversely owned businesses, and then beginning the rest of the applications at the end of that 6-month period. Social equity businesses would have the first 90 days, then adding in diversely owned businesses for these new business types. Part of the reason for the recommendation was just in the original acceptance, we did see it took us some time to get through the social equity business application, so we want to make sure people are on notice that it will probably take us at least 90 days anyway to get through those. But we're still supportive of that original staff recommendation. I think that provides a leg up to social equity businesses while also allowing diversely owned businesses to begin submitting before other applications can submit.
Thank you, Director Brown. Any further discussion? Commissioner Barker.
This was a great meeting, and I thank you all for the comments. First and foremost, to Brother Chris and Brother Tyon, I wholeheartedly understand your stories. Understand that, please, personally and anecdotally. For me, I'm going to just make a point to Commissioner Delgado. When you said the I'm going to just disagree respectfully. You said the marketplace is telling us this is the right thing to do. With all due respect, this is just a microcosm of the marketplace. The individuals that spoke, they don't reflect the entire marketplace. Chairwoman, you said that this is not quite hitting the mark. I disagree with that. This consideration, we haven't even seen it play out yet. So we don't know that it's not hitting the mark. And understand that this was based on precedent. Other states have done this in response to the lack of inclusion of black and brown businesses. That is the point of this. We legalize cannabis to address those most harmed. People are still incarcerated for this stuff. It hurts me that we have these conversations and we're moving the goalposts now, right? At the impetus of all of this, Brother Mazzone, Councilman Mazzone, you touched on it. You were at the table when this was happening. This was to tax, regulate, and sell. This was not to include initially black and brown businesses. The advocacy community fought for years to address the harms done to those like myself, like others who look like me, disproportionately, discriminatorily, excessively. And legalization was to answer that. And the social equity business designation was specifically created in New Jersey and in other states to target those most harmed. So now that we're saying we should not be considering them and we should be considering everybody, that is a tough pill to swallow. We have seen in New Jersey since legalization has happened. Are we improving? Yes. Is our staff doing a great job? Yes. But at the end of the day, I think Brother Brian touched on it, we still are not seeing businesses overwhelmingly in inner city communities. We still do not have a handful of businesses opened by minorities. But let me rephrase that, I'm sorry, because we do have a lot opened by minorities, but we are lacking, severely lacking in businesses opened by black and brown applicants and awardees. And so here we are with a data set that shows since we legalized, we are not getting businesses that we intend to get in the business. Now, with a new opportunity for new license classes, we're trying to address that. We're trying to get those most harmed. Trust me, I'm going to share this. There are people that are struggling so much. I'm in the hood, man. I'm going to just say that, and I was just in the hood. There are people struggling. There are people that really think they have a shot that it just is such a disconnect between what we're trying to ask for in the sense of including everybody, as if that is just, that's not working. I'm just gonna say that. Including everybody is not working. It's leading to injustice, and it's leading into getting overwhelmingly non-black and non-Hispanic and non-indigenous applicants through the portal, up for consideration and awarded. And it's not fair. And so we're just trying to offer a new thing. And I think that that is very fair. I think we haven't even played it out. Massachusetts implemented it because they were seeing their numbers lacking. I believe the city of Denver implemented this as well for all of their license classes. And so we're just trying to make sure licenses go to those people who were most harmed. Period. Legalization is not about making money, as I understand it. I thank you, Ms. McElroy, for touching on the patient need, right? You touched on that. You said this is not about making money. It's about helping patients get their medicine so they could survive. And it's about righting the wrongs of the failed drug war. Period, hard stop. I'll give back my time.
Thank you, Commissioner Barker. I think that the passion with which you share your remarks is palpable. So thank you for bringing that, bringing your heart to it.
Amen.
And I think it's, when we're talking about letting black and brown businesses be a part of this, the black and brown owned businesses be a part of this industry, we have black and brown businesses telling us today that they're being left out by our decisions. And I think that there's a difference between exclusion of setting up a process to prevent and exclude or mitigate potential loopholes, right, to mitigate the instances of actors acting in bad faith and taking advantage of other individuals just for pecuniary gain. I think there's a difference between that and setting up a process that promotes and fosters inclusion of the communities that we do want to see represented, right? Certainly, those who have been directly impacted themselves, those who have been entangled in the criminal justice system for marijuana offenses, they will always have priority here in New Jersey. They will always have their applications reviewed first, approved first, and with the, under the proposed change to the notice of application acceptance, as described by Director Brown, they would have priority and exclusivity for a period in time. Now, and I think that is fair, because we're not excluding people from the process in a way that is overly burdensome. We would not be excluding businesses from being able to prepare and feel like they do have a shot to get involved in this industry and not have to wait a year or 2 years. So I think I think the proposal that staff had put forward is fair. I think it espouses the values of equity. Certainly, I think we can all agree that we wish that there were more things that we could do to advance people, to help people out, right? We've talked, this board has talked about access to capital extensively, right? And because we see that as a real need for businesses to be able to have a chance to be successful, that's why we partnered with the Economic Development Authority to give grants. Certainly, and I know, Commissioner Barker, I know you share this value as well. I wish we could see many, many, many more such programs. I wish we could see more dollars that are able and accessible for our business entrepreneurs to get up and running, because that's really where the rubber meets the road. If these businesses can't operate, what good is a license, right?
Madam Chair, may I have the floor?
Commissioner Nash, please.
I was in support of Commissioner Barker's motion at the June meeting, and we've had extensive discussions about the reasons why he wants to prioritize social equity businesses. I was moved today by the speakers here, some who, when I first started, we had meetings with to learn more about, what their needs and how we could create programs for access to capital and the Business Action Center to move them along. So I can support Vice Chair Delgado's motion for the reasons that I think each person that spoke really has an understanding of the communities that they're in, and whether it's the formerly incarcerated or currently incarcerated, or people that have family members that were incarcerated or just have experienced living in an economically disadvantaged area. So those are all really tough things to navigate, and I feel that we should help those people too. My one concern, and it's something that I guess is a legislative fix, is that we see teams put together of diversely owned businesses that really aren't necessarily reflective of the people that sat here. And I don't know how we work around that. There's people that will always find a way to get into this industry for the wrong reasons. And that's not, the reasons are for money. and not helping to elevate people in disadvantaged communities. So that's what I have to say. I would be fine with supporting Vice Chair Delgado's motion today for those reasons.
Thank you, Commissioner Nash. Any further discussion?
Just, I do want to express, just to respond, Commissioner Nash, because trust me, I am moved by everything that was said today. I have people, family, friends, loved ones who are going through what was said and more. And I will say the social equity people, social equity businesses are currently going through what people may no longer be going through. And so that is the focus, making sure those most harmed are prioritized and given a fair, full shot to make it through the process to completion and be the first in their class to open. Thank you.
Any additional thoughts from the board?
Just and I'll make this real quick. I live in the hood too.
As do I. As do I.
Do you? And I just want to say, I've made enough money in my life that I can live anywhere in the state, in Milburn, in Summit, in Westfield. But I choose to live in the hood because I think I make a difference. And I've always lived in the hood, whether it's, Newark for 26 years or now Perth Amboy. I make a difference. And I try to walk the walk because I could come at it in with moral authority. And look, it's never going to be perfect. What we do here is never, ever going to be perfect. All we can do is try to make the best of it. And I think, myself making this motion is a step in that direction. And that's all I have to say. Let's take the vote.
Just a point of clarity, Commissioner Delgado, living in a city that may be a hood and connecting with the people on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, and communicating with the hood members is totally different. And I want that to be clear on the record. It is totally different. Living in a place and connecting with the people of that place is different.
Yeah, Charles, Commissioner Barker, I'm not going to keep going on this because we have to go. But you don't know that I don't. You've never been arrested and spent time in jail. I have, so for cannabis. So I think I come from a good. I think I could speak with some authority. That's all I have to say.
Different.
I also, Vice Chair Delgado, I also live in the hood. So I hear exactly what you're saying. And I think it is important because we live that every day. We communicate with our neighbors. We help them with small tasks and large tasks, whatever it may be. But it makes a difference.
Yeah.
It does.
It does.
Just so you know that this feels insulting to some people, this conversation. It's just a disconnect. It's a disconnect. This evidence is a disconnect between those on the ground that Brother Edwards was talking about, that he's consulting and dealing with every day, and where we're coming from, 30, in a different perch. And I'll leave it there on my end, respectfully.
Thank you. Speaking from my own experience, day to day, where I talk to my elderly neighbors and I assist her with getting her benefits, right? I talk to my neighbors every day and I help my neighbors put together their suitcase because they're going on a trip and they've got a bad hip, right? So these are things that I do, and that's what I will speak to. So
Just one point.
I think we will, what I'd
Please,
like to
Madam
do.
Chair. Please, Madam Chair. Because you make that, what I'm talking about is somebody that's an ex-felon coming up to you, somebody that's currently in the midst of a legacy and giving you dynamics and sharing with you their hopes and their dreams for entering the cannabis industry. And you got to tell them, I can't talk to you, go to a website. It's opportunity for you. Go to the website, look at the resources. It's a disconnect. from that and what we're talking about right here at this dais.
Any further discussion on this motion? Hearing none, on the motion to reverse the June 1 action to go back to the original recommendation of staff with respect to the notice of application acceptance, Mr. Saeed, can you please call the vote?
Commissioner Barker,
Nay.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Vice Chair Delgado,
Yes.
Chairwoman Wainu.
Yes.
The resolution passes.
Thank you. Is there any additional new business for the commission to consider today? All right, hearing none. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Madam Chairwoman, I move that we adjourn.
Moved by Vice Chair Delgado. Is there a second on the motion to
Second.
adjourn? Seconded by Commissioner Nash. Is there any discussion on this motion to adjourn? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay.
Nay.
Any abstention?
No. Aye, I'm sorry.
Any abstentions? All right, the time is 3:02 PM and we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone, for your patience and your participation in today's meeting. Please stay tuned to the website for additional details on upcoming meetings of the commissioners.
Thank you.